Hello and welcome to the Ally Invest Service Show. My name is Brian Overby. I'm with Ally Invest, and I'll be your host for today's show. On our show today, our theme is going to be market insights and education. Today we have Dom Napolitano with our Ally Invest customer service desk and Callie Cox from the strategy department. Now, Callie will be highlighting a few things in our community hub, ally.com/do-it-right. But with that mentioned, our viewers are the ultimate drivers of content on this show. If you have any general questions about the platform, please start by putting them in the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen right now. I have to point out for privacy concerns that we can only answer general questions about the platform, and please do not put in any account information or contact information into the chat box. The goal of this show is to help out as much as we can in this open platform without compromising the security or safety of your accounts. All right, now on last week's show, I was doing a demo of option trading tools, and a question came up that I could not answer, and it dealt with gifting shares within Ally. The question was, can I gift shares to someone that has an Ally Invest account for their birthday overall? So I'm going to start by passing that question over to Dom from our customer service desk. Dom, do you have an answer?
Hi, yes. So we're unable to gift shares per se within Ally Invest. However, if you did have an account and wanted to gift shares to, say, your son, you could open up a joint account with your son and move the assets from your individual account into your son's joint account with yourself. And once it's there, you can then choose to leave them there, or you can then journal from the joint account into the son's individual account. So it would be changing ownership, not necessarily gifting shares. And then if your son was under the age of 18, he could then open up a custodial account where the assets can remain until he reaches the age of majority.
All right. Well, it sounds like you could, if you do the little dance, it's feasible to be able to gift shares within Ally Invest, but it does sound like there's a little bit of legwork to get it done, right, Dom?
Right, that's correct.
All right. So I also have another one that was placed in the comment box. And this one, I'm going to try to read it. It's a little bit disjointed, but here we go. I opened to sell one call 22 on ticker gold with a limit. It now shows -1 on my order. It also says my gain loss is -45%. However, got $15 for open on the sell of this at a net credit. Why is my gain loss negative? And I think I can answer this one. A lot of times when you first buy an option contract and you go to your holdings or position page, it's going to show a loss. And here's the reason why. And in particular, if you're looking at options that are a little bit illiquid, in other words, they don't have extremely good markets. Once you buy it, what they're going to assume in your account is the worst case scenario. That means that if you were forced to close out that position, you would have to sell it and you would get the bid price on that option contract. So if you're selling at market on the bid and the market is fairly wide, which can happen in underlyings that don't have a lot of volume on it, it will show that, yes, I bought this at the asking price and now I'm selling it at the bidding price. And that width between the bid-ask spread will show that you have a negative, and sometimes in this instance, it sounds like it's a fairly big negative loss in your account just because of the bid-ask spread. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the price you would get, but in the marketplace, you can always try to work your order. And that's why we always suggest when you're doing options on illiquid markets overall, that you enter limit orders as opposed to market orders. Now, it doesn't guarantee that you get the fill, but you are guaranteed to get that price if you do fill. And so that's probably the situation that happened with your option contract overall. All right, so now before I pass it to Callie, I want to say one more time that you guys are the drivers of content in this show. So if you have any questions, please run over to the chat box in YouTube and put it in there and we'll try to address them. We got two great subject matter experts that you can ask any question of today and we'll try to address it. All right, with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Callie to talk a little bit about our community hub. Callie?
All right. Thanks, Brian. Well, hi, everybody. It's nice to meet all of you. I'm excited to be here today. I'm Callie Cox. I'm a senior investment strategist at Ally Invest. And I know that's a really complicated title, but basically, my boss, Lindsay Bell, the chief investment strategist, and I exist for you. You might have an Ally Invest account, but investing is kind of tough sometimes, and you might have questions about where the market is going, how to invest your money, how to think about other parts of your wallet. And that's what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions and bring you the smartest insights and market trends that we're seeing from our end. So I wanted to show you a little bit about what we do because we actually do quite a bit. And it's not just our team. We have a huge Ally editorial team that constantly writes articles about personal finance, spending, cultural trends, stuff like that. We really run the gamut there. So as you can see up here, I don't know if it's popped up yet, but yes, there it is. All right. So this is our blog, Ally's blog. It's at ally.com/do-it-right. That is a mouthful. But Ally has a blog, ally.com/do-it-right. We call it our community hub. So I'll refer to it as our community hub on here. But it's just Ally's blog. And I want to show you a little bit about what's on here because, like I said, there's just so much to look at. And if you have any questions about money, chances are you're going to be able to find an answer here. So we have a few tabs up here at the top, as you can see. We have life because, your wallet, your money can be your life. Your money has a lot of connections to your life. So, let's talk about that. We have money, budgeting, credit, estate planning, all that good stuff. Car, because your car is also a big part of your financial picture. Home, of course, another big part of your financial picture. Banking, thinking about your savings accounts, your checking accounts, all that. Investing, my personal favorite, all about trading, stocks, bonds, options, 101s on all of that. And trends. And trends is actually where you're going to find my insights and Lindsay's insights. And I'll show you how to get there. Actually, as you can see, the first story on the page is how fear prevented a big market sell-off. And that was actually our last weekly viewpoint. And when I say weekly viewpoint, Lindsay and I publish a note every single Friday on what's happening in the market, interesting stories that we're seeing, data that we're looking at. It's called the Weekly Viewpoint, and we publish it every Friday on Ally's blog. Say that 5 times fast. All right, so if you want to see the most current weekly viewpoint and past weekly viewpoints, you're just going to go.
Kelly, before you get there, I'm going to jump in. We actually got a couple of good questions that just popped up. All right, so
all right,
you start getting too far down the rabbit hole there. Let me jump in, and the first one I don't have an answer for, but maybe Dom can help us out. It says, "How do I clear the research list on the Ally Invest app?" Do you know how Dom's more in the customer service space? Do you know anything about the app at all, Dom?
Yeah, I would say that there was a recent update on the app. So if you haven't partaken in that, you may want to go to the App Store or Google Play Store and click Update. Or if you were to delete your app and reinstall it, that update should automatically be posted onto it. And that should clear the research there. But to my knowledge, there isn't a way to get around that. So I believe the research would stay on the app until you add some other research items, and then it moves to the bottom of the list, and eventually it'll get cut off.
All right. And then the next one, before I go back to Kelly, does the cash balance earn any interest in the account that I just opened, which happens to be an IRA rollover account? Back to you, Dom.
Oh, so with that one there, only managed portfolio accounts that we have with Ally Invest actually accrue interest, and that's going to be 0.55% APY. Now, our self-directed accounts, on the other hand, do not pay interest on cash balances. But luckily, we have Ally Bank, which we have introduced real-time transfers. So any cash that is sitting idle in that self-directed account, you could real-time transfer it over to Ally checking or savings to gain some of their interest. And then when you're ready to use it, you can move it right back.
All right. So put your questions in the chat box. We're happy to answer anything that we can. But I think this is a great time to give it back to Callie. She was just getting into showing a lot of ways that you can actually get that excellent information that you guys put out every week, Kelly. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely, Brian. Thanks. All right. So if we go to the trends tab, by the way, we're talking about how to find Lindsay and I's weekly viewpoints, which we publish every Friday on market trends and insights. So if you go to this trends tab right here that I'm circling, and you go down to financial news, it's a little buried, but it's not too tough to find. Go to trends and then financial news, click on that. And wait for it. All right. So this is our little feed of weekly viewpoints. We have our most current one, how fear prevented a big market sell-off. And all of the weekly viewpoints are on this tab, and this tab is mostly populated with weekly viewpoints. So take a look here. We have our most recent one. The one we wrote before that is actually one that I wrote on dollar cost averaging. Really, really interesting. We dig into the math about it. You should definitely check it out. But like I said, we publish every single Friday. So definitely check this tab for updates for new weekly viewpoints. I'll add too, we don't just write weekly viewpoints. Lindsay and I, every once in a while, write bigger, broader, more zoomed out, thoughts about the market. In fact, Lindsay is actually publishing her Q4 2021 market outlook on Tuesday. So actually, now that I mentioned that, we won't have a weekly viewpoint this Friday, but that's because Lindsay is publishing a big, bad, meaty market outlook on Tuesday. So you'll see that market outlook pop up in this tab, trends, financial news. You'll see it pop up first in the tab. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be really good. I've already seen it. So we write quite a few things. Most of them you can find under the trends and then financial news tab. But all the other tabs are awesome. I've spent so much time on this site. So definitely give it a look. If you have questions about money, you can hopefully find answers here. And I'll remind everybody too, if you have any questions about what I'm saying, if I go too fast, mention something, and you're like, oh, wait, Callie, I have a question, please drop it in the chat, and Brian will alert me, and we'll get it answered. All right.
So I'm gonna jump in here. How can people find this information? Is there a way that they can sign up for email?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that, Brian, because there is a way you can sign up for email. Now, I'm going to say right now, if you're an Ally Invest customer, you're going to get all these publications emailed to your inbox, along with other, special insights that you can only get as a customer. So when markets are rocking, like last Monday when the S&P fell 2%, Lindsay and I put out these, quick, timely insights called volatility alerts. They're just really quick, bite-sized pieces of information on what we're thinking real time about the market sell-off and, how we're viewing it in terms of, where we expect the market to go and, how investors should view it in terms of their goals and their needs and their risk tolerances as well. So you can get that by being an Ally Invest customer. That's one of the perks. But if you're not a customer, there is a way that you can sign up for most of these emails. So I'm going to flip over to it right now. And when I get a minute, I'll drop this link in the chat because I'm certainly not going to read it out. But sorry, one second. But we have a distribution list. We've had this for a few months. We've had a lot of really good signups. So if you're not a customer, or if you're a customer and your parents, friends, family are asking you about market insights and where to get them, show them this link. Because they can get Lindsay and I's market insights every Friday, our outlooks. They should be able to get our volatility alerts. They can get it even if they're not customers. So I'll drop the link in the chat, but you just go here, put your name in, put your email in, click a few boxes for legal and compliance, and you're in. So yeah, Brian, you can get this stuff delivered to your email, and most of you probably are already getting it delivered to your emails.
All right. Okay. So with that said, it's time for you to put some questions in the chat box overall. And if you have any in particular for Kelly, that would be now would be a great time to do it. Or anything about general account information we have down from our customer service desk here. And we're willing to answer any of your questions overall. All right. Right now, I don't have any more questions. Kelly, do you want to go back and maybe cover a little bit on the banking tab, some other tabs, Yeah, how about options? I know that there's somebody on there that does videos.
Yeah, well, speaking of, Brian's being a little humble right now. Brian does a lot of awesome options videos under the invest tab. If you go to invest and then click on options, you can see everything that Brian gives us. And Brian has awesome options insight, like some of the best on the market. By the way, I just dropped the weekly viewpoint sign up link in the chat. So definitely click on that if you want to sign up, if you're not a customer, not getting these emails. So that's why I was turned and looking over there. All right. But yeah, like Brian mentioned, we have a lot of really good options insights. So like the first one up here, put options explained, buying or selling puts. I mean, options are like intermediate investor stuff. You know, it's a little harder to wrap your head around, but luckily Brian is a great teacher and he breaks it all down for you. So he writes quite a bit and he does a lot of really good videos. One thing I'll mention too, so Ally actually has a YouTube page. Well, you know that because you're on it already, but we also have insights that are video insights. Brian does a few videos, I do a few videos, Lindsay does a few videos, and we actually have a weekly show called Stock Play of the Day. And I think we have a question.
Yes, we do. And I was going to point out, if you scroll down to the bottom here, there's some basic videos. Go down to the bottom and show this, because last week we actually did option trading tools in the daily service show. So if you scroll down to the bottom on the page that you're on, Callie, and then I'm going to come back and I got a question specifically for you from someone out there in YouTube land. I think it's at the very bottom of this, and then you click show more. And just want to highlight, there's some basic videos that would kind of go along with the tutorial, like how to, what an option is, how to read an option quote, very basic strategies to start with. So we got a few of those little videos. They'll actually take you to the YouTube tab too. You can find it in YouTube. Our producer, Eric, does a great job of setting up some playlists, and there's a few playlists in here that have these videos too. So you can check those out there. So we got a strategy question in general. So Epic says, how do you feel about leveraged portfolios? Example, instead of 60% stocks, 40% bonds, how about 60% UPRO and 40% TMF? Not quite sure. Do you have any insights on what that question, UPRO and TMF?
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and jump in. Okay. So great question, Epic Finance. I'm not familiar with the tickers, but I do have some thoughts on leverage in a portfolio. The first thing I'll say is it's really hard for me to answer specifically for your situation because you have your own needs, goals, risk tolerances, and I'm not sure what they are. So your tolerance of leverage and how leverage works in your portfolio is going to be a lot different than, you know, me or Brian or any other person. So just generally, I mean, leverage, you know, can be a good or bad thing. It's generally riskier. You have to watch it because sometimes you can lose more money than you put in, but it can also help you amplify your gains if you're sure about a portfolio, about an investment that you have, and you want to maybe juice out a little bit more from it. So leverage can be a tool, but you really have to watch, you know, what you're doing. And I'll say too, if you're looking at leveraged ETFs and ETNs, exchange traded products, definitely research how they work, because a lot of those products do, you know, buy and sell underlying securities to give you that leverage take. But sometimes that can break down, right? Volatility, ETPs, ETFs, ETNs have, in particular, have been in the news for, you know, breaking down or maybe not performing like they should have performed, because it's a very complex security. I'll just put it that way. So definitely research what you're investing in. Look at the fees always if you're looking into investing in a fund, and don't be scared of leverage, but at the same time, understand what it means for you.
Excellent answer. And I got a few more questions, Kelly.
Right.
So this one comes up, it seems like every week, and maybe Dom has a little bit of insight on it. I don't have any more information, but we have two people that are asking about, will Ally Invest offer fractional shares anytime in the near future? Do you have any ideas on that, Dom?
Yeah, I'd like to touch on that. So we do offer fractional shares, but this would only be as apart from our DRIP program, which is the dividend reinvestment. So not all, but most of our securities that we can trade here are DRIP eligible. So if you do receive a dividend and you have that program turned on, that dividend will be reinvested and will buy fractional shares. Now, as to buying fractional shares in the open market, we do not currently offer that, but that may be something that we offer in the future.
Yeah, and I don't have any insight as to when the future is, but this question we've received a lot. Maybe I'll look into it a little bit more, see where it is on the path that we have with our programmers and what we're looking to do. But we do know that this is one of the most requested things within our client base. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information soon on our daily service show overall. All right. So looking, no more questions overall that I see. Okay. Sign up for the weekly viewpoint. I see that there. Okay. So Callie, do you want to, before you, because I know you have to run, Callie, so will you show where to sign up one last time for the weekly viewpoint overall? We did put the link in the chat box.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll show a few quick things before I go. And thanks for listening to me, everybody. So like Brian mentioned, we have a weekly viewpoint sign up. I'm trying to see if I can click on it. No, not there. Not there.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I might have clicked out of it. But if you look in the chat box, if you're not a customer, you won't be receiving our weekly viewpoints and other market insights to your inbox. So sign up at the link in the chat. It's really easy. You just put your name, your email address, you click a little box for legal, and then you're in. You get all of our market insights for the most part. I'll tell you too. So Brian, Lindsay, and I do a lot of videos, and you can find them on Ally's YouTube page. So basically where you're at, go back to Ally's profile page, click on playlists down here. You'll see a lot of playlists. They're all great, but I want to show two to you today. We have, let's see if I can find it. All right, there it is. All right, so down here, we have this playlist called the Chief Investment Strategist Insights. And these are Lindsay's videos. It's, whenever the market's rocking and she has time to put together a few-minute video, she'll do it. And you can find these videos down under this playlist, the Chief Investment Strategist Insights playlist. She also provides videos with her market outlooks. And like I mentioned, we have a market outlook coming this Tuesday. So keep an eye out for her video on that playlist, especially if you're more of an audio visual person and you don't want to read 1,500 words, which, by the way, I get it. Yeah, and I want to show you stock play of the day too. So I might have seen a few of you on stock play of the day. Brian, Lindsay, and I have this weekly show at 12 p.m. Eastern, and it's about the market. It's about what's happening in the markets, and it includes an options trade that Brian's looking at. It's a paper trade, of course. We're not actually trading these, but we kind of walk through a hypothetical trade, especially one that's pertinent to what's going on in the market, and we talk about how to do it, why we're looking at it, what to consider when making that trade. It's a really fun time, and we have live Q&A at the end. So definitely join us. But if you miss it, there is a playlist for it. Ally's profile page, playlist tab, and then stock play of the day, this playlist down here. And one more thing I'll throw out there because I do need to run. Brian's right. So if you have any questions about accounts, service show is great. Come to the service show and ask them. But if you can't wait for the service show, we have a really good FAQs page. Hold on one second. There it is. Okay. All right. So I will drop this in the chat as well before I go, but Ally has a top FAQs page. It probably covers what you're looking for. And you can find that at ally.com/help/invest. And like I said, these are questions about accounts, not necessarily where the market's going. How should I think about this when it comes to money and budgeting? It's more like technical questions like we're covering, like, how do you set up a new IRA account? Questions around your self-directed account, questions around the robos. You can find all of that at ally.com/help/invest. So check that out. Of course, we'll answer your questions on the service show, but if you want to find an answer sooner, you'll probably be able to find it on this page.
Excellent. I'm really glad you showed that help page. Without a doubt, there's not enough clients that use it, and it is there's a lot of great information on it. The customer service team has spent a lot of time putting that page together. Okay, so with that said, Kelly, I guess we'll say goodbye to you. And we appreciate all the insight and all this great information that you're showing us. I do have a couple of more questions. This is your last chance to put questions in the chat box. We're kind of running out of some time overall, but I got two real easy ones for you, Dom. Okay, the first one, so Gavin must have came in a little bit late, but Gavin says, do you have an app or a platform that I can use instead of the web browser overall? So that's simple enough for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do offer an app. So if you were to go to the Google Play Store or App Store for the Apple, you can download the app by simply just typing in Ally, and it should pop up as Ally Mobile. Now, Ally Mobile is a great resource. You can make transfers, trades. You can do a whole bunch. Now, the website itself is going to offer a bit more flexibility when it comes to like linking bank accounts. So the main stuff is going to be on the website, but for ease of access, the app is great to be able to place trades and whatnot.
All right. And then I guess we're getting a little bit more questions about the dividend reinvestment. So I know that we're not sharing our screen, Dom, but can you kind of tell them a little bit more about the DRIPS program and how they might sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. So the dividend reinvestment program, this is one thing that you would have to sign up on the website. So this you couldn't do on the app, but on the website, if you go in, you can go to investment accounts and then go to settings. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to see DRIP, and you can turn that on. Now, please be advised in doing so that only dividends with X dividend dates occurring afterwards, after you add it, will be invested. So some people may add it and then see that their dividend still gets paid as cash. And that's all because of the X dividend date. But as long as you add it during that time frame, it will be reinvested and it will buy those fractional shares.
And I also want to point out too, what Dom is saying is that if you do add it, it will be all stocks that pay dividends in your account. So you can't do it on an individual stock. Either you have it on or you have it off. And if it's on, all the stocks that pay dividends after that X date will buy fractional shares in your account overall. All right, Dom. Well, I think that we're going to finish with that question there. We have no more questions in the chat box. We've got another great customer service show. So please click subscribe, ring the bell. We'll be back next Monday for another edition of the Ally Customer Service Show. Thanks for coming, everyone.